Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic and the return of Codec to the channel. Always an occasion for joy and rejoicing. And we're going to be tackling Nordschleife now. I do not speak Dutch or German, and North, I feel, is part of that, but I don't know what the rest of it means. So pathetic, isn't it? Anyway, there we go. We'll have a look at this in a second. I do want to tell you about Swipe Right, our Patreon reward for December, which allows you to match up puzzles and make them happy for Christmas. We've also, of course, got loads of other content on Patreon, including Long Solves by Simon of a Roggen puzzle and a brilliant line puzzle by James Sinclair. And there's crossword content. Connections hasn't been going so well lately. There's on merchandise as well, and SVEN'S SUDOKU PAD. They're in the links under the video. The merch is great. Get yourself a mug that has our logo on, just to show that you're in touch with the channel all the time. You can check out links to Discord and all sorts of things under the video, but also there's all of our apps, including Fog of War Sudoku, the latest one with puzzles by some of the great and the good from the world of Sudoku setting, thank goodness. Do check it out along with any of the other apps that you fancy, but I'm going to have a look at Nordschleife by Codec and tell you the rules. So normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 goes in every row, column and every 3x3 box. We have to draw a 1 cell wide loop of orthogonally connected cells. So that means the loop moves horizontally and vertically only. And in this case, the loop doesn't branch or touch itself, not even diagonally. So if we had it going like this, it could not then do that because it would have touched itself diagonally in 2 places. And it is a loop, so it will join up. Circled cells are not on the loop, and the digit in a circle indicates how many of the up to 8 surrounding cells are on the loop. So if that was a 4, 4 of these cells would be on that loop, on the loop. For each pair of adjacent digits along the loop, the larger digit is an integer multiple of the smaller digit. Okay, that was in a recent puzzle I did, that was described by the constructor as there is an integer quotient between the 2 digits. But what this means is that one divides into the other. It is very straightforward. I think Codec has expressed it very clearly there. And finally, the cell with the rectangle is on the loop. That's all we get. Imagine that rule set, some 8 strategically placed circles and that one rectangle, which I think is a square, but that's a subset of rectangles. That is going to give us a uniquely solving 1 to 9 Sudoku. I mean, mind blown again by Codec. He's so clever. It's just, he's a very nice guy as well. Simon and I met him for lunch in London once. I think Codec may have, after that, taken up with a UK Sudoku fan. I'm not sure if that's right. I hope it is. Anyway, Birmingham? Not sure. Let's have a look at the puzzle. Give it a try on the first link under the video. I'm going to start now. I'm hitting the wrong button, as I so often do at the start. Right, let's get cracking. So the square is on the loop, and I'm going to make the loop purple if I can. Let's have green cell. No, let's have yellow cells not on the loop. And I'm told all the circles are yellow. They're not on the loop. Okay, so I'm going to have a purple loop weaving through yellow cells. Right, that is not on the loop because it couldn't get in there. Okay, here's something straight away. The loop has to touch this cell. It has to reach these 3 cells. I know that because I'm never going to put 0 in a circle, or indeed in any cell in the Sudoku. So since this can't be 0, it's 1, 2, or 3. There are maximum 3 cells that the loop can get into. And to get there, it cannot avoid going through this hole, I think, because if it did, it would have to go in and out and it would be touching itself naughtily. So it's got to go up those 3 and out there. So this much is certain. That's now not a 1. This digit is, well, this is yellow because the loop's not allowed to branch. So this digit is somewhere between 4 and 7 at the moment. But the loop has to get up here, doesn't it? So, well, it's going to, I don't know, is it, I suppose it can go up here. Okay, it's going to get harder, but it's certainly a key factor that the loop has to reach all of the circles and touch them at least diagonally. In fact, that's an interesting point. How could it not go through this cell? If it goes through that cell, it forms a corner like that. If it goes through this cell, it forms a corner like that. Well, like that at least. Actually, if it goes through this cell, the only ones I could draw in are those. Those for this cell. But it's always got to come through here. So that's on the loop. This is 1, 2, or 3 as well. Yeah, it has got to be a different number from that one. Oh, I think that means the loop doesn't. If the loop went into this cell, I think these two numbers would end up being the same, wouldn't they? Whether it goes there and they're both 3s, or whether it goes there to join up and they're both 2s, it cannot go through that cell. So that's yellow, I reckon. That's lovely. That's a really lovely beginning to this puzzle, that those two can't be the same, and that colours this cell. This is now 1 or 2, and that's 2 or 3. Now, whether it goes there or there, it's got to emerge here. Now, it's got to touch this cell. Right, that tells me that either it hits this cell, or it goes through this gap, or both. Because to touch this cell involves either using that cell or that cell, and to use either of them involves using both. They come as a pair. Right. No, I was going to say something incisive, brilliant, and entirely false. This is not on the loop, because either the loop goes that way or that way, and in either case it mustn't touch itself again. So that's not on the loop. This one could be. This has become 4, 5, or 6. Which is the biggest number we've seen in a circle. Okay, I'm not sure what to do next, so bear with me here. I don't think it's anything to do with these circles down here. There seems to be a lot of ways the loop can get through there. So we've got to deal with these congested boxes at the top, boxes 1, 2, and 3. Now, if that is, okay, one of these is a 2, because either that's purple and that's 3 and that's 2, or that's purple, in which case that's 2 and that's 1. That's not very interesting, is it? Oh, we can't go into these two cells or we'd never get out touching without touching. Right, that's very obvious now I've seen it. It wasn't very obvious until I saw it. Now it is. I bet you the loop goes around here just because it can. If it didn't, it would only touch this 1, 2, or 3. I suppose this can be a 4. I don't know. I don't know if it would help me to create a 1, 2, 3 triple in those cells anyway. I don't really know what is going to help me. Oh, the loop, the constituent parts. Of course, that's what's going to help me. We've got this divisibility rule. Right, and 2, now it matters suddenly that 2 has gone in box 1. It's really interesting now. We're going to touch at least 4 cells in box 1, those 3 and 1 other. And the path that we take, well, 1 is a very free digit. 1 can obviously abut any other digit on the path. Let's say 1 was not on this path, be it there or be it there. Let's say it wasn't. Let's say that was a 1, therefore 1's not on the path. That is a 2 at this point. And we know the path's going that way. That's not the important thing. The important thing is that the numbers we would be left with, let me just aid memoir them here, are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, how are you going to construct a 4-cell path using those digits? 3 can connect to 9 on one side and 6 on the other. But the only other connection you can make between any of those digits, I believe, is 4 and 8. And they can't join 3, 6 or 9 anywhere. So you never get a 4-cell segment unless you're using 1. Isn't that interesting? That is a big discovery for this puzzle, I imagine. So that now is not 1. So it must be 2, and that's 3, and the loop comes through here, and that goes yellow. And these cells include a 1. Now, now we don't have 3 anymore. We have 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 1 is somewhere on the path. Now, we can't use 9 joining with 3. So 9, well, anything can be next to 1. Any of those digits. But the other 2 cells that don't involve a 1 have to have a connection. They have to be 4 and 8. So there is a 4-8 pair. There is a 1 in the middle 2 cells. It's either 4-8 there, 1 here, and a different digit here, or 4-8 here, 1 here, and a different digit here. So these are from 1, 4, and 8. That is just weird. But this could be a learning that we can take to elsewhere in the puzzle. Now, we got a 2 there. And, okay, that is telling me that this is purple. You may wonder, how is it doing that? Because I said that this has to be touched by a purple path. And it can be touched either by 1 cell there or by 2 cells here. So if this was yellow, the path has to come to one of these. And once it comes to 1, they come as a package. It comes to both. And that would have to be another 2. And that would break the Sudoku. So the path goes there, and this is 1 or 3. The path then goes here. That's yellow. Now, does it go this way? Oh, can that be 1 or 2? I mean, it would be easiest for this path to pass through every box it passes through in the grid in as few cells as possible, so that it could use 1s and not really have any trouble with the rule. Now, I suspect it's not going to do that, but we have to prove what it does and how it does it. Okay, this is going to see those 2, either this cell or not this cell. I was going to say either those 3 or not those 3. No, that's not fair. Okay, let us say that the path did not go round this back end. This would be 1 or 2 because it's not allowed to be 3. That would have to involve that cell. If it was 1 as a corner, it would come that way. If it was 2, it would have to be those 2 so it could come in and go out without touching itself. So this is always in the loop, this purple cell, because that, if we're not going around here, that's 1 or 2, and that is involved. And if we are going around here, that is always involved. Now, this is already touching 3 cells. It's got more to do, though, because it's not allowed to be a 3 by Sudoku. So this is 4, 5, or 6. I'm tempted to claim that 2 is on this line, and I don't actually have the wherewithal to say that, so I will leave that. Oh, this has now become not a 6. That is 4 or 5. I think the loop could still go through there. Right, now. I need to work out whether it goes round here and makes that a 7. Or, well, this is 7, 1 or 2, because if it does go round here, that will be a 7. If it doesn't, we're touching 1 or 2. We're not allowed to put a 3 in the cell. Right. So there doesn't seem to be any play between those. So I'm going to have to think about the contents of the loop again, which is annoying because that... Oh, well, maybe a 7-cell string is just impossible. Oh, it might be as simple as that. So all the digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 7 and 5 can only exist on the loop if they touch 1. 8 and 4 and 2 can all touch each other. 9 and 3 can touch. 3 can also touch 6. 6 can touch 2. I think you can form a 7-cell chain with no difficulty as long as you're using 1. And if instead that was a 1, it's very easy to just pass through this box. Okay, I don't really know what I'm doing now. 1, 4 and 8 are all in the purple cells in this box. So these are selected from 5, 6, 7 and 9. If that was a 1. Okay, if that was a 1, these are, well, they could be 2, 4, 8. They couldn't actually be 3, 6, 9, weirdly. Because the 3 there would put the 3 here. Oh, not only could they be 2, 4, 8, you can even attach a 6 to the end with a 2 on. So you could have 4 cells in this box, even if that was a 1. Oh, this is annoying. I don't know how we're going to make progress now. I'm getting rather confused. Right, let's think a bit further about... That's very likely to be a 4. Actually, that would be helpful. Then this would be a 1, 8 pair. I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be that helpful. Okay, if that was a 1, then we would just be passing through that cell. This would definitely be a 4. Actually, if this was a 2, we'd be passing through this cell. And again, that would have to be in the loop, and that would be a 4. It's only if this is a 7 that you could come south and come back. That's weird. Ah, if this was a 4, the digit itself would be a 4. I mean, what a fatuous thing to say. But it's absolutely true. Oh, I see. I think maybe this doesn't work for this to be a 4. If that was a 4, the loop goes like this. Now, these cells are going to not contain a 4, but they are going to be a bunch of connected cells by the rule. They can't contain both a 1 and a 3. I suppose they could be 1, 2, 6, 8. Yeah, is the problem... I don't know. Is there a problem? Okay, let's go back to if this was a 1, we would be doing this. That would not be a 1. That would be a 1. This would be a 4, 8 pair. Oh, that's quite interesting. So if this was a 1, that would be a 1. This would be a 4, 8 pair. This would have to connect to 4 or 8. It could be a 2. Then you could go 2, 6, 3, 9. I don't know. It does seem like there's a degree of freedom about this that is frankly disappointing. Okay, let's consider this again. 1 or 3. And if it's a 3, these are, all of these are purple. If that's a 3, this is a 7. And if that's a 3, I don't know, I think this is easy to form. It's harder if that's a 1 and we don't go up here. Then this is a 1 or a 2. So anytime this is a 1, this is a 4. And now 1 and 4 are off the line. Anytime that's a 1, that's a 4, because now you do have to come through that cell to form the 1 or the 2. That is true. Okay, so anytime that's a 1, that's a 4. And then you've got to make up these 4 cells from 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I think there are 2 ways of doing that, annoyingly. 9, 3, 6, 2 in that specific order, which would have to go 9, 3, 6, 2, and that could join on to 4, 8. Or 8, 2, 6, 3, which again would have to have the 3 here. 8, 2, 6, 3. Interestingly, that doesn't work because the 8 would have to connect with 2 or 4 here. But you couldn't have 8, 4 in those cells. That's interesting. So if that's a... oh, hang on. I've just said if that was... oh no, I said if that was a 1, this would be 8, 2, 6, 3. Yeah, okay. But that wouldn't work. So what would work is 9, 3, 6, 2, which would have to go 9, 3, 6, 2. And now that would have to be a 1 because you'd have a 2 there. Nine, 3, 6, 2. 1 there, 1 there, 4, 8. I mean, it would be very prescribed. You'd have 3, 4, 8 pair, 2, 6. Oh, it won't work because that's meant to be a 4 under this version. Wow, that's mega confusing. But I think it proves this isn't a 1. If that's a 1, we have to come, those aren't on the loop. So the loop has to come through here, and that's a 4. Okay, at that point, the 4, 8 pair in one of these cells is here. So that's a 1. But to make this work with a 1 and 4 there, this has to be 9, 3, 6, 2, in which the 3 has to be there. So that's a 2, and suddenly this can't be filled. That is pretty complicated. If that's really on the solution path, it's hard, but it's done. It is right, and that is a 3. And now the path does come around here all this way. That's a 7. At least it gets us that. This is not 4 anymore. I don't know whether we come here, but actually that's going to be under a lot of pressure, although now 1 is freed up to be in those cells. Okay, so where have we got to now? That's yellow. Oh, purple has to come out here. That has to be yellow so the loop doesn't either close or touch itself diagonally. And that's purple. We've now got a run of 5 of the path down the right-hand column. That is rather surprising to me. We've got a 3 by Sudoku in one of those cells. Now, we're not using 7, which is a good number to get rid of, but we are nonetheless populating this group of cells. And although I thought about that briefly before, I'm not sure I ever... I concluded there was enough to make it work. But you've also got the issue 2 can't be in those cells. Oh, and 3. Surely 3's got to be on the line. If 3's not on the line... Well, let's start with these. They've all got to be connecting digits. And only one of them can be a 1, knowledge bomb. 1 can connect with anything, but once you've had 1, 2's fine at connecting with anything. But lots of the other digits can only connect with 2 other cells. 3, for instance, can only connect with 6 and 9. 4 can only connect with 2 and 8. I'm excluding 1. 5's got nothing. 7's got nothing. 6 can only connect with 2 and 3. 8 can only connect with 4 and 2. And 9 can only connect with 3. So although 1 can appear somewhere here in this run of 7 and help out, it can only do so much heavy lifting. If 2 was in one of these cells, I mean, I want to use 2 and 3. I don't know. This is quite weird. I think there is something going on here. I want to use 2 and 3. I can't use them up here. Okay, I've got to think a little more clearly about this. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 I'm allowed to use. If I didn't have 3 on the line, I could never connect. Well, 9 would have to be on one end of it so that I could connect. Well, it couldn't ever be here because it would need 2. I suppose if I had 3 there, I could put a 3 here. So 9 would be on one end of the line next to a 1. And then the rest of the line would be 5 other digits. You can't get 5 other digits to connect up, can you? No, 8, 4, 2, 6, and then you run out. So I was imagining 3 was off the line. It just won't work because you can't accommodate 9 anywhere there. And if you start it on one end, you have to have 1 next to it, and then you can't connect up the other 5. So 3 is not there. I mean, that's quite complicated, but it's still true. 3 is here somewhere. What? If 2 was also in one of those cells, where are you going to use your 9? Okay, let's say 9. No, let's say 5 is not here. 5 only has one neighbour. So 5 would have to be in one of these cells. You get the same problem, I think. It's not the same problem anymore because now you can go 5, 1, and then to make up the other 4, you can use 6 as a bridge between 9, 3, 6, 2. Wow, it's easy, except that 3 is not allowed to be a bridge because we're saying 3 can't be here or here. So if you had 5 in one of these cells, you'd have to have 1 next to it. Let's imagine it this way around. 5, 1. Now you're only allowed, well, you're only allowed 4, 6, and 8. Well, and 9 if you could use it, which you can't. 4, 6, and 8 here. And they won't go together. Oh, that's really weird. 5, 1 on either of these struts doesn't let you fill this top thing. You've only got 4, 6, 8, 9. You can't do that. You can't get 3 in a row from 4, 6, 8, 9. So 5 is not on the loop. 5 is there in the yellow. 9 now. Sure, well, 9 could be on the end, except that we've worked, well, have we worked out that you can't? No. I'm going to tell you that you can't put 9 on the end of this 7-cell loop again, because it would have to be next to 1. 3 can't go in those positions. Then you've got a 5-cell thing made out of 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. But the 3 is locked at the other end. 9, 1, 3, 6, and that would require a 2 in the top row. Wow, I mean, that's complicated. But now 9, what am I saying? 9 is on this loop. Yes, I'm saying it's not in either end. And therefore, it's in a cell where it has 2 neighbours. Those neighbours have to be 3 in one case and 1 in the other. So one side of this loop goes 391 up to the top. Now the rest of the loop after that uses 2468. But it doesn't use 2 shortly after the 1. So the 2 cells coming after the 1 must be 4 and 8, I think. Yeah, it's not using 2. So this is a 148 triple. And then having used 4 or 8, it's going to use 2 in the next cell and 6 in the final cell. Wow! I mean, this puzzle's crazy times. That is now a 3-6 pair. That is definitely 7 or 9. We've got a 148 triple there, which doesn't do a lot for these cells. We've got 729 there. Now, what else is this doing? Now, this cell is coming, this is either, one of these struts is 391. If that went 193, this would have to be a 6. And if that went, well, if that went 193, it can turn the corner. Oh, this can't be a 4 anymore by Sudoku. No, by the maths. It's not trying to be a 4, sorry, it's 5 or 6. I was thinking it was counting the number of cells in this box. It's not. It's counting all the purples around it. Bother. Although maybe things get interesting if that's a 6. Then you have to make up this sequence not using 6 and 3. Therefore, no, I don't know. Let's go back to this thought. I was thinking if the 391 strut is there, that's a 6. If instead this is 6, 2, 4 or 8, then this connects to 6 and is not a 2 and is 1 or 3. Oh, goodness. I thought this would have done a bit more work. Honestly, I did. 2, 5, 6. So 9, 2, 7, 2, 9, 3. Oh, these are selected from 1, 4, 5, 6, 8. Well, there can't be many ways this works. This could be a 4-8 pair. Then you would have to connect to a 1 here. This can never be a 5 because it doesn't have 2 neighbours. This can never be a 5, and that can never be a 5. 5 never has 2 neighbours that see each other because they'd both be 1s. So actually 5 is sitting there by Sudoku, well, by the rule. And that's now yellow. Right, now purple comes out to there. Yellow, well, this can't be purple, or you'd either meet or be diagonal. So purple is carrying on down the far column. Purple is also coming out of here. We're only seeing 3 cells in this box, which I feel eases the pressure. Now, what do we know about 1, 4, 6, 8? What we know is that 6 can never be next to 4 or 8, so it's not in the middle here. It's on one end, and it's got a 1 next to it. So one of these two is a 1, and that means this is not a 1, but in box 1, we mark that one of these two was a 1. So the 1 is here. That is 4 or 8. This is the 1, and that's 6. This digit is 2 or 3. No, it's not 3. It's 2. And we've made a start. I've made a start. Half an hour in, I've made what I feel is a start. I've got a 7-9 pair there, 5-6 pair there, 7-9. Oh, look, this is 7 or 9. And it doesn't matter. If it's a 9, we still can't put 3 there, so we're always putting 1 there. This is now 3 or 6, and we've got a 3-6 pair. In this row, we need a 4 and an 8 in those cells. Next to the 2, this is not a 1 or a 6. That is also 4 or 8. This digit is either again on top of 391, in which case it has to be a 6, or it's, I mean, it must be the same as them, mustn't it? Or it's on top of 6, 2, and 4 or 8. And if it's next to a 6 and it's not a 2, it's 1 or 3. So this is 1, 3, or 6, but it's not allowed to be a 1 in the row. So we've got another 3. We've been gifted a total 3, 6 deadly pattern. That's so strange. Now, so we're carrying on down this final column. How are we carrying? If that was 3, 9, 1, we've got a 6 here, then we get 2, and then we get a 4 or an 8. If this is alternatively 6, 2, and 4 or 8, then that's 3. Oh, then this can be 1 or 9. Although, well, okay, that is 1 or 9, and I'm taking out the 4, 8 there, because although if we go on from a 2, that's 4 or 8. If that's a 1, this can be all sorts of things. On the other hand, if that's a 9 following a 3, this has to be a 1. So 1 is in one of those cells in this column. I mean, I don't know how to pencil mark that. I'm not even going to try. What I need to do is work out something more holistic about the loop. The loop is going to join up somewhere around here. And it's going to come through, you know, it could be there or it could be there. Who knows? That's such a strange, to force the 1 there. But I suppose the annoying thing about 1, as I said before, is it has many faces. It can do almost anything. Now, can we join up here? Yes, easily. With a 2. Oh, no, well, we can't do it with a 1, but we could do it, not easily. There's only one way that we could join here, and that's with a 2 here, I think. Have we got any more circles I can use? I've still got this to use. If that's a 5, we come through there. Now that won't work. That won't work. So this is not a 5. Okay, I'll explain why this won't work. And I'll do it by colouring it. If that was purple, you would have to join up between those because you can't have a diagonal. I mean, you would have to join up between those. But this could never get out without joining to that. Because, you know, the most this could do is loop around here. But this still has to carry on and it will crash into this. So that is impossible. Therefore, this is yellow and this is 4. And therefore, this is 8. And I don't know what that does. It means purple is only coming through this gap once. I'm still certain those two are going to link up. I mean, they've got to. So that this can join on with this end. Yeah, somehow. We don't know how yet. We haven't got that many digits that are available here. One of these two is a 5, but I don't know if colouring those is any use. Now, for this to be purple, this definitely goes 8, 2, 6. Then this would go 3, 9, 1, 4, 8 pair, 2, 6, 3, 9 or 1. I just don't know. That could easily be purple. Okay, if it's not purple, then we come down at least to there. Maybe that's a problem. The 8 would join to a 4 or a 1 here. I just wonder if there's some holistic way you can know that 1 is traversed in every box. I don't think there... Oh, I've just noticed that 4 tells me this is 8 and that's 4. It's not really doing much, but the 1 in box 7 is in one of those cells. We haven't encountered the 1 in column 8 or in either of column 5 or 6. So there is a 1 somewhere here. Yeah, I don't know. I keep on wanting to decide that. Oh, we may have to break out of this column. We've worked out we can have 7 things. But once the 1 has been exhausted in one of those cells, and we haven't used 5 or 7 yet, as soon as we run into a 5 or 7, we're going to have to turn. You can have an 8 cell long yeah, no, because this couldn't be 5 or 7, because that would have to be 1, and we've worked out 1 is in one of those cells. So this line is going to turn before it gets to past there. It either turns here or it turns there. I don't know quite what that means for me. It could turn in a 5 or 7 here with 1s in both of those cells. Now, what would happen then? I don't know. I keep coming back to the fact that 193 looks more likely on this side than on this side, even though there's freedom here. 193, 6, 2, and then 4 or 8. Then you could have another of those if you wanted before you turn into something. Not a pumpkin. Oh, goodness, this is quite a grind at this point. What's going on? I don't know. I want to turn left into a 2 here. That would make that a 9. Well, that would have some implications on this, wouldn't it? That's interesting. Yeah, if that's a 2, that's a 9. If that's a 2, then you're going 6, 3, 9, 1, 4, 8 in some order. 2, 6, 3, and now this would have to be a 1 because you'd have put a 9 there. So if you use a 2 there and make that a 6, this becomes a 1. And if instead this is a 3, oh no, that was if you come through here with a 2 there, that makes this a 6. This is so confusing. I mean, I'm really on the verge of something here, and it's to do with this having been limited to 2 or 9. If that's a 6, what is the number that comes after it as you look this way down the loop? You've had 3 there, 6 here. Well, it can't be 3 because that can't go there and it can't go here. We've got a 3-6 pair, for goodness sake. In fact, 3 and 6 are both in those cells. I mean, that's quite interesting to learn, but that X-wing has taught me that, and I hadn't even realised. Anyway, if that's a 6, the cell that comes after it on the line is not a 3. It must be 1 or 2. It's either, well, if it's there, that's a 2, and that's a 9. And then we've just worked out that makes this a 1. Haven't I? If that's a 2, 6, 3, 9, 1, 2, 6, 3, 1. Yes, if that's a 9. Right. So that becomes a 1 if this is the 2 and where the 6 goes. The only alternative is that this becomes a 2 or a 1. If that becomes a 2, that's a 9, that's a 1. And there's always a 1 in one of these cells. There must be. It's either forced to be here or it has to be here where that continues, because that cannot continue. Well, it can continue into a 2 here, but that forces that to be a 1. And it's a weird Sudoku argument, but it makes one of these into a 1. That's now an X-wing, and this group of cells is now 1, 3, 6, in the weirdest possible way. Now, these are from 2, 9, 4, and 8. It's a sort of quartet looking up there. And we were going to have to turn either there or there. So, if that was 2, that's 6, 9, 3. And if that happens, this is the 1. If we don't turn there, we have to come through here. Now this could be a 2 or a 1 in that case, connecting to the 6. But if that was a 2 now, wow, I mean, you've got 9, yeah, if that's a 2, this is no good. You've got 9, 4, 8 here and a 1 here. This is 5 or 7, and you cannot carry on from a 1 there into 5 or 7 there, and then get a 1 either there or there. So, this is not a 2. Now, can it even be a 1 carrying on to that cell? Then that is 2, 9, 4, 8, and you've got the same problem. In fact, you've got a worse problem. That's 2, 9, 4, 8. You've got 5 and 7 here. This can never be 5 or 7. That is my point. There. That is the point. This cell can never be 5 or 7 because 1 there, 5 or 7 there, and you cannot continue. You'd either have to duplicate 1s. So 5, 7 are a pair here. This is now the only place for 1 in the box. That's a 1 up there. This is where the strut goes, 1, 9, 3. And on this side we go 2, 6, 3, and we are motoring. This is 4, 8, or 9 by Sudoku. I suspect we could rule out 9. Yeah, we could. Because what could that move on into? There's nothing available there and nothing available there. So this is 4 or 8. And now we've got a 5, 7, 9 triple down here. I don't know when 5 turned up in those cells. That was always a 1, 3, 6 triple. I read it as that earlier. I hope it said it as I read it. Right, this is now 2, 4, or 8. Well, it's never 8 because that would kill the loop. So it's 2 or 4. Now, they're not very helpful totals, I'm going to claim at this stage. This cannot go down into there because none of those have a connection. So that is purple. Now, this can't come down to here, or we get a diagonal turn or a join up. So that goes there, and that's a 2. And that is going to do a little bit of damage here. So that is now a 5, 7 pair. That's obvious. In fact, all of these are now yellow, like Coldplay said. And we're going to have to, I was going to say we're going to have to go through this gap. Not sure about that yet. Well, I am sure. The only way to come round this side would be to, yeah, we cannot get to this column anymore. Never mind that they say 5, 7, 9. You can't get into it and out of it. So you'd have to come through those cells, and that would be 5 such cells. And that does not allow it. So we do not go through this way. Those are yellow. This could only be a 4 if we go this way now. And for it to be a 2, it's either those 2 or those 2. This is always purple, probably worth very little. Oh, we can't carry on into here because 2, 4, 8 doesn't connect to 5 or 7. Good Lord, it's so obvious. This now has to be a 4. And this has to be purple, and this has to be yellow. And the purple carries on to here. Oh, this is lovely. I feel a sense of freedom. Freedom would be going too far. Sense of relief. That's purple. Okay, now, this path, I don't know. This can't be 3 because that can't connect to there. That's all I can say. 6 could connect to 2 here. Ah, goodness, I can't resolve it. Okay, we'll come back to that. What about this cell? It sees 3, 5, 2 by Sudoku. No, it's useless. Okay, this is going to be 2, 3, or 4 because of the number of path cells it sees. Wow, I still don't know where I'm at. There's a 1 in one of those cells. We're not going to use a 1 in box 5. Doesn't mean we're not going to go through there, but Okay, I'm going to have to study this course a bit. One of those is I don't know. Okay, can this be an 8? That would have to be a 4. Because if you had 8 there, you'd have 1 here. And now 4 is the only other factor it sees. This would then be an 8. And that would break this cell. 4 there, 8. Oh no, this could be a 1. So calm down. If that's an 8, you get a 4 here and a 1 here. If that's a 2 though, there seem to be a lot of possibilities here, because that can be a 6 now. Oh, madness. There's still lots of work to do, Codec. I see what you're doing to me. You're wrecking my head. Oh, goodness me. I mean, uniqueness tells me that isn't a 4 or an 8, but I'm not using uniqueness because it wouldn't prove the puzzle had only one solution. That's why. And it's important. That's not what we do. So this cannot be 2, 4, 6 or 8. That's interesting. It can obviously be 1, and I'm going to allow it to be 3. I'm even going to allow it to be 9. It can't be 5 or 7 because its neighbours see each other. Now that is 1, 3 or 9. 1 is very free. 3 and 9 not so much. If it was 9, this would have to be a 1, 3 pair. That couldn't be 3 by Sudoku, so that would be 3. This would be the 1. If that was 3, then you have 1, 6 and 9 as possible side arms. Not so obvious to me what happens as a result of that, I'm afraid. Okay, instead I'm going to think about what digits can be in here. Not 2, 3 or 5 in this column. So we could write 1, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to rule out 7 because it can't be next to, in fact 7 and 9 can't be next to 2 or 8 there. So they're both gone. 7 and 9, well, no, hang on. 7 can't be in this cell because it would need 1s on both sides. 4 can't be there by Sudoku. If this was 6, this would have to be 1. That would have to be 6. You'd have 2s in both of those cells. That's quite interesting. If this was 8, that would be 4, and this would have to be 1 again. If this was 9, this would have to be 1. I think I've just proved that for everything that isn't a 1 here, that's a 1. This can't be an 8-4 pair because of that. So one of the, whatever this is, either it's a 1 or else that has to be a 1. That is correct. So one of those is a 1. Now this isn't a 1 and this isn't a 1. This is where the 1 goes in box 5. Now, what have we done there? What have we done? What have you done? This has to connect to 9 or 3, and it can't be 1. So it is 3, 6, or 9. If that was on the path, would it have to be in the 1, 3, 6, 9 family? No, it could be a 2. If that would have to be a 1, 3, 6, 9 set, that would break this. So in fact, this can't be 8 because that's 3 or 9. That is a 1, 3, 6, 9 quad now, bizarrely. And everything else in the row is 2, 5, 7 or 8. with that not being 2 or 8, and we've got a 5-7 pair in the row, so we have a 2-8 pair to go alongside it. Goodness gracious. Right. 1, 3, 6, 9 must include a 9 in one of these cells. 6 cannot go next to 9. I mean, that ought to be useful information, but I can't quite see how to use it. If that's a 9, that's a 3. Wherever 9 is, there's a 3 next to it here. So that's not 3. Good Lord. And that's now a 1-6 pair, so that is 3. I feel like that ought to clear some fog or something, but there was no fog in this puzzle. There's now a 3 in one of those cells. Just Sudoku there, fans. 3 and 9 are both used here, so that's not 3 anymore, obviously. This is 2 or 4. So we either use both of these or neither. Now, if we were to use both, we have to go all the way round here and connect up here. Now we would have a 7-cell line here, and that is possible. You can only use, we discovered that over here, you can only use 1 of 5 or 7 on such a line. So that would be 5, and the 7 would have to be here next to the 1. Now the rest of this column would have to be made up of 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, but 9 cannot go down here next to 2 or 8, and if it went there next to 1, it wouldn't have a cell that would go here. So we aren't using those 2 cells. They're out of the loop instead of both in, and that's a 2. It's a brilliant, brilliant concept. I have to say, this is incredible, but it's also mind-blowing. So that's purple and is connecting to 3, 6, or 9 yet again. So it has to be from the 1, 3, 6, 9. No, yes, it can't be 2. So it is again from the 1, 3, 6, 9 family. Can't be a 1. So that's 3, 6, 9. That's a 1. This obviously isn't such a digit. That's fixed this as 6 and this as 1. This can be any of those digits. Here we mustn't have, what is it? We mustn't have 9 next to 6. So that's not a 3. 9, in fact, 3 has to be the hand holder for 9 and 6. So we get to fill them in. Now we're going to carry on from a 6 here. If we went there, it's going to be a 3. And if we went there, there's no digit that could go there because 1, 2, and 3 are ruled out. So that is yellow. This is purple, and we said it was going to be a 3. We've nearly joined up the loop, but not quite. We're never going to come into these cells now because we couldn't get out of them. We've really nearly joined up the loop now. 2, 3, 6, 9, 1. That's not a 6. This is just Sudoku. I don't really get how that's going to get resolved yet. Probably from digits over here. 2, 8, 3, 6, and 1. 1 is placed here. That's the last one in the grid. There's a 6 in one of those cells, and I don't know which one. That is an 8, 7 pair. Right, that's the only place 8 can go in the box. 4, 5 there, and that's a 3. 3, 6, 8, 2, 1. That is 5, 7, or 9. Oh, I was going to say, so 3 can't run on into it, but it can if that's a 9. But then where would it go? After a 3, 9 there, oh, it could go up to a 3 here. Okay, we're not dead on that line. Mad as it seems. This is 4, 5, 7, or 9, so you can never connect these two together. So that's not in the loop. And now that is, I think yeah, that was a reasonable conclusion. We've got one more loop cell to find. 3 in this column is here, in column 2. That's where 3 is by Sudoku. So this can't be a 1. It must be 6 or 9. Oh, my goodness, there must be something going on to finish now. Oh, 8 is looking up there. Thank you, Sudoku. This is a 6, 9 pair. This is a 4, 5, 7 triple, including that. Do not know how these are going to get resolved yet. That can't be a 7. These are from 4, 5, 6, and I don't know what's going on there. If that was a 9, this would be a 6 and that would be a 2. In fact, if this was a 9, what can this be? Nothing at all, because 3 and 1 are gone in the box. So that is a 6. That fixes the corner. That puts a 6 down in this, near this corner. 5, 3, 1, 6. That can't be 5. We've got, what are we connecting between 1 and 6 here? If it's not 3, it's 2. That must be right. That places 2 here. And that's what I knew was going to come there, but I didn't know how we were going to prove it. Now we know. That 9, 6 pair's been done. This is 5, 7, or 8. And I don't think that can be on the loop because it just doesn't work. So there's the last loop cell. It's a 9. Haven't finished off the loop. Oh, I wonder if... Oh, there's no 5 on the loop. I was just going to say, I wonder if we're going to get every possible cell on the loop. That's 5 or 7 in the column. That makes that 8. This is a 9. That's been available for a little while. That is now 4. That's going to finish off the loop cells on the right. That's not a 9. Something's easy in this row. That's not a 9. No, just removing the 9s. That's the only easy part. What is this in the corner? 4 or 9? Well, no, it's a naked 4. It sees everything else in the row, column, or box. That's what nudity means in the case of a Sudoku. Not as exciting as regular nakedness. Right, 5 and 7, 5 and 4. Look at this. It is literally all coming together in a beautiful, beautiful mashup. Codec is something else, and that has been proven yet again. Nordschleifer, the solution is correct. 58 minutes, just under the hour. Gotta love that stuff. It's almost a heart shape in the end as well to prove it. Well done, Codec. Love what you do. Thank you for doing it, and thank you for joining us on the channel. Bye for now.